Hey everyone, we're back. It's been a minute and we have missed y'all, but we're super excited to be back. And I can't say hot off the heels, so I'll say cool off the heels of Days of Tales 2, which was itself a phenomenal success. We raised 930, 960, one of the $2. I forget which one. I'll get that updated as quickly as I can. Super excited about that. Thank you so much to everyone who was involved in that in any way. All of the amazing people who donated, all of the fantastic people who were part of our giveaways, all of the amazing people who were on our tables. It was incredible. We were so happy to be able to do another one of those. And we will be hard at work trying to figure out when the next one is so we can tell y'all as soon as possible. But it will be at least a little ways off because we've got a lot of stuff that we're doing coming up. Which reminds me, in the next 2 weeks, in the next week, we're gonna have a really exciting announcement. So next Monday, we have a really cool announcement about the studio and things going on and things to come, and I cannot wait to share that with y'all. Super hyped. Thank you everyone for being here tonight. We're here for a new episode of A Crumbling Foundation. But before we get to that, I'm gonna pass this around so everyone can introduce themselves, tell you who they are, where they're from, and why they're amazing. GD, let's start with you.
Every single time. Which direction are we going in? Hi, I'm JD. In this game, I play Dr. Zachary Ryan, who is one of our 2 scientists, and is, as always, way in over his head. You can also find me with Live from the Apocalypse, where I am in way too many of their games. In fact, if they have a stream, odds are I am going to be involved in it in some capacity. I won't drop all of the names. You can check out my Twitter for the latest updates, but I will say we do have a game premiering this coming Friday at 1:00 p.m. I know, unusual. We don't usually start streaming that early. We will be starting our Urban Shadows campaign, Thy Kingdom Come. And that is going to be a really good time. I'm so excited for it. We'll see what it's like to ignore our actual reality and live in a theocratic version of the United States where monsters are hunted down.
I was waiting to hear how it was different, and then you said that, and it made sense.
No, there's no difference. There's no difference.
If we could hunt the monsters down, that would be great.
Hey, I didn't say it. I made it through that.
Jack, you're next.
Oh, hey, hello. Yes, I am. I'm Jack. It's been a while. I don't remember what to say during these things. Go find me on my own channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered, and of course the associated YouTube, because we don't actually have a series going right now. Little bit of a hiatus between season 4 and season 5, which is coming up. Very exciting, very excited for it. But if you want to check out any of my previous Whip Workshop creator interviews or any of the now 4 seasons of RPGs Uncovered, a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to learn a new TTRPG, you can find them all there. We hit the 100 subscriber mark on YouTube, which is really exciting. So I think they did away with that requirement before, but it is now officially youtube.com/@RPGs Uncovered, which is really fun. So go find me there, hang out on Discord, hang out on Twitter, all the social medias, RPGs Uncovered. Stay tuned for some really cool new announcements.
And who are you playing?
And oh yes, while I am here, because that's important,
yeah.
I will be playing Agent Hevard Hart, everybody's new best friend, including multiple gods. And with that, I believe I look over in this direction and wave hi to Tal.
Hi, I'm Tal. I will be playing Captain Jackson Kennedy tonight, who is the team's resident field doctor and person who will get you out of trouble should you be stuck. You can check me out on Twitter, mainly under the Gamer's Rest. So I make and design tabletop role-playing games, and you can also check out my YouTube channel where I play a few games on there, including the early hours this morning. You'll be able to see episode 2 of The Quarry, which I'm playing, and playing really badly as it is to be expected. And that's me.
That brings us to the Eye.
I am the Eye, summoned here again to play Lieutenant Liam MacCern, the resident hothead, who wishes nothing but peace and prosperity for all. I am sure that is exactly what he thinks. And no violence ever required for any situations. Diplomatic in every way. And that's it.
And that brings us to Zoe.
Hi everyone, I'm Zoe. You can find me here tonight playing Zura Von Brandt, one of the eggheads of the crew. I would like to think we wouldn't get anywhere without the eggheads, but I don't know. We'll see. You can also find me on Component Cast playing in a cyberpunk red game called Night City Terrors. I play a character named Jackalope, and we had our first session last week. And we're fighting a group, you know, those two words combined, called the Philharmonic Vampires, but not really. There's a twist, but there's vampires. So it can't go wrong. We're going to show them not to mess around. And that's kind of where we're at there.
Awesome. So before we get started tonight with the Crumbling Foundation, something I want to go over very quickly is the Crumbling Foundation is at its core a horror game. And while we do enjoy lighthearted moments of ridiculous insanity and nonsense, there is still quite a lot that will be found here, including atmospheric horror, religious iconography, self-mutilation, mutilation, occasional gaslighting, and things of that nature. If at any point you are feeling uncomfortable with anything that you see here, please don't hesitate to step away. We have a bunch of other shows if this isn't for you, and that's totally okay too. We promise not to be mad. Always put yourself first. We love you and we want to make sure that, you know, you take care of yourself. Similarly, we've all had a full discussion about that, and if at any point any of our players feel uncomfortable, they will be doing the same, and we have a whole bunch of stuff in place for that. So everyone's here to be safe. That includes y'all. Please don't forget it. We appreciate you being here, but not at the risk for your own mental health. With that said, let's get to tonight's episode of A Crumbling Foundation. When last we left our fantastic field team, they had just been, let's say, reassembled, brought back together by the benevolent and friendly new associate of Jackson's. A rather rotund man with the most trustworthy name ever. Does anyone remember what that is?
Mark.
Very good, yes.
Is
Mark.
not a trustworthy name.
It's the most trustworthy name.
It's so
of course,
trustworthy.
Yeah.
I trust him implicitly.
Hell yeah. See, it worked.
Mark.
It was explained that currently Mark's domain is at least to some extent under attack from the lion-headed gentleman that our party had encountered at their first stop, the Verando. As they explored the strange fleshy recreation of the White House that all of this took place in, Zura took it upon herself to get a sample from the fleshy, pulsating walls, which did not seem particularly fond, but made no attempt to stop it, nor has it been addressed in any way, leaving it to be assumed that it is at least somewhat safe. Running some tests on that, Zura found some interesting information regarding the genetics involved, or the many genetics involved in this thing's genetic sequence. I talked myself into a corner there, but that's okay. Meanwhile, Lieutenant MacCern found himself slowly but steadily growing more and more uncomfortable with the situation. And as it became more clear that Mark perhaps is in fact what most people would refer to as a god, Lieutenant MacCern's concern only really grew. Meanwhile, I think it's safe to say that the entirety of our field agent team, as they sat down to dine with Mark and a few of the many people who seem to inhabit the city, one of the few cities called Utopia that exist on this island, that everyone is starting to question why they, in particular, are here with very little to work off of. Very little reason to be. When we last left off, Lieutenant MacCern had asked about Mark's mother, trying, I assume, to strike a nerve, as it had become clear, at least to Dr. Ryan and Lieutenant MacCern, that if Mark is in fact what someone would refer to as a god, he was quite an old god of the Canaanite pantheon, from which many modern gods in the Judeo-Christian pool of faiths seem to flock to, stem from. His response, though, was perhaps the most interesting thing of the dinner thus far, unless you worry about where the meat came from, which was to suggest to the team that his father, the highest of holies, for lack of a better term, is currently in the custody of the Foundation. And that, I think, is where we return to our wonderful dinner. Lieutenant MacCern, I assume you did not wear your gas mask to sup, correct?
No, it would be hanging off of his belt, probably.
Wonderful. And what I'd like to do to start us off, actually, is I am going to ask everyone to make me an awareness perception check. Awareness is the first on the list of abilities. You'll roll that and, add your perception. We know how this works. We've been here before.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oof.
That sounds good.
11.5.
10.7.
I've got nothing in this skill at all.
Okay, so it's not.
It's a straight roll, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. Because abilities you don't get to add to when you roll.
Yeah. Actually, it's 10.7.
10.9.
That was my roll, I think.
Oh, that's your. I'm sorry. You're quite right.
Yeah, no worries.
I was thinking. How have I got 0.7? No, mine's just a 9.
So Tao can actually roll a d8 to add to that, because it's any proficiency at 0.0.
I thought it was specifically knowledges and skills.
That is for leveling them up with experience points individually between sessions.
You're correct. Yes. So it's a D6 when testing. It's a D8 when you are trying to level it up.
Okay, D6.
Yeah.
I'm going to use 2 reverence to reroll.
So that'd be 9.5 then.
That's pretty good.
Not bad.
Sure. Yeah, and you can reroll.
Right. Excellent.
That's a bit better. 10, 15, 18.9.
Okay, so those of you who rolled a 10.3 or higher will notice almost immediately upon this mention from Mark, both the Utopians and the traditional humans that seem to be in the room sort of freeze up. It's not that they were particularly mobile beforehand, but it's become clear that this has touched on at least some type of nerve for them. Anyone with a 15 or higher, I believe that's just Liam, will immediately recognize this as like almost a fear response. There is a fear in them over this exchange. But Mark just sits there with that wide, over-toothy, sagging, fleshed grin, watching you with the pulled back flesh of his brow, sort of making his eyes wide.
I had a distinct impression that the Foundation probably had a couple of you lot within them, but your father. Interesting. Any idea if you have any plans of getting them out? Or even if you have such interest?
Getting him out. What an interesting concept. Do I seem the type who would take from the Foundation?
I suppose if that's what you mean, then do you think that the Foundation has ownership of your father?
And as she laughs, spittle goes flying every which way. Some of it actually landing out like on your dish, Liam. Which, as I recall, remains untouched.
Yeah. Liam pulled out like a ration biscuit from his jacket.
Yeah, he pulled out like an MRE, I think, right?
Yeah.
This is some great fried chicken mush. But he lets out this deep belly laugh, and spittle goes flying, and he goes, "Oh, I am no fool. No one will own him."
So is it real custody, or is it just your father perhaps amusing himself?
My father is a weak-willed fool, too afraid to step in where it is necessary. And so I am certain he sees it as a vacation he's happy to take.
Well, knowing what I know about how the world works, it seems that a lot of you who claim divinity have been on vacation for quite some time. And Liam's face, before that statement, Liam's face was like mirthful.
Right, he had that like big smile, right?
He like grinning, and then at that last statement, that smile like goes to like a very like almost clenched jaw type look.
Bitterness. I wouldn't have expected that from you. Tell me, what would you have us do?
Perhaps reducing pain would be one good step.
Oh, you wish to remove pain? That can be done.
No. However, I have heard many men crying out for their gods with no answer, as the pain of death washes over them as their lifeblood seeps into the earth that supposedly you created. And they die hopeless, alone, afraid, with no whispers and no words from any of you lot.
How do you know?
Oh, I know.
I don't know if you've heard this before in your travels. And he stops for a moment, and he looks back, and as he does, you can see sort of the stretching and almost tearing of the flesh of his neck as he does. And there's a bit of a crackling. And he locks eyes for a moment with one of the humans you had not had the pleasure of being introduced to yet, who gives a small shake of their head before looking back over at you, Liam. And he goes, "Pain is complicated. More than you could know. Oh, unless you do know. But I don't think they've told you that bit yet, have they?" they wouldn't. So much easier to make you angry with pain. You think they die alone. You know they die alone. They do not hear us. We do not hear them, or we choose to ignore them. But have you ever asked, why are we all simply vain-glorious fools who have done this for our own amusement? What is the likelihood, Lieutenant, that we don't care? That we put the effort that we have into all of this, or at least some of it, to fuck off?
Was that a rhetorical question?
Oh, no. I want to hear this from you.
I think those chances are pretty great, actually. Now, whether or not you believe it is a different question.
Do you suggest we are lying to ourselves?
I'm thinking if... Now, I'm not quite sure which one of you decided to put our collective beings upon this planet, or if it was any of you in your pantheon at all, but if you did, I'm sure that you created us in your image, and it is known that even humans lie to themselves all the time. It wouldn't be too surprising to me if you deities did the same.
Interesting. There is much we could wax, you and I. And I'm certain your friends, if I am so bold as to call them that, would have plenty to add. But...
Yeah, I mean, my dad didn't teach me much, but he always said two things to avoid talking about at dinner are religion and politics. I think he's probably right.
Difficult, I think, to avoid religious conversation in this context.
Meh. I don't know. I think we'd love to know more about here and the kind of things you do. I mean, this is all new to us. I'm sure there's plenty you could tell us about, what you do here, the kind of life your is followers the right word to use?
Cult. Followers. Yes, followers.
Tell me, then, what is the distinction between a religious following and a cult?
That is certainly a topic that is heavily debated in the literature. I could get you some peer-reviewed articles, though.
I would much rather hear your personal opinion. You are the one here sitting at my table, after all.
Well, I suppose what I would say is the difference between followers of a religion and a cult are that followers of a religion still have autonomy and ownership over their own thoughts. They are not being made to think in a certain way. They are not being kept from other ideas. They are being allowed to determine whether or not they wish to follow the religion. In a cult, there is none of that autonomy.
And you believe, I suppose, and I promise to take no offense, that your witnessing here as a cult is the removal of their autonomy.
You can see Zura kind of sway uncomfortably a bit at this conversation, and it's like, well, I agree with your assessment, Dr. Ryan. A lot of religions that we would consider to be non-cult in nature also strive to take away the free thought and autonomy of their members.
precisely what I was referring to when I said there is a debate in the literature.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But as to whether I think this is a cult, the fact that these people are on an island, that there is no contact with the outside world, those would certainly be two, how shall I say this, red flags.
And so, regardless of autonomy or openness, until such a time as I bring us back to the rest of the world, you would consider us a cult.
You asked for my honest opinion, and the honest answer would be yes.
I appreciate your honesty. Thank you. There are few who knowingly sit in the presence of one such as myself and have the confidence to be blunt about something so potentially hurtful. It is no secret that all of us, both my brethren and not, are at least assumed to be proud.
Always said, if you want an honest answer, ask a scientist.
There are many reasons, my good friends, why we are here, and only here. There are complex forces at work, and some you are not ready to understand yet. Others, perhaps you are. But I do not believe you would be motivated to leave if you did. And that is not how I grow my communities.
Well, I'm a scientist and I'm here to gather data, so I will certainly tell you if my assessment of the situation changes.
Please do, please do. I think you will find, unfortunately, by design, much of your data will not make it back. And to know, he says as he looks over at Lieutenant MacCern, this is not a threat. It is simply a fundamental fact of the universe.
Are you insinuating that we forget what we learn here as well?
Some you will forget, but most you will find trouble in dispensing and sharing with those around you. Divinity,
boat, isn't it?
When presented to you, is easier to comprehend. But the further you stray, the harder it is to capture.
Can I... Hev's being really quiet during this conversation, which is sparking a flag in my head as to normally he's leading these conversations. So I'm kind of just sidelong glancing to see what Hev is doing.
Hev is following the conversation intently, listening to each person who speaks. There's a little chuckle to Dr. Ryan's definition between a cult and a religion. But otherwise, he's listening intently, just soaking it all in. I don't need to say anything stupid as long as you guys got it covered.
No. With that said, I will provide whatever I can. You have but to ask. In the meantime, please enjoy your meal and your stay. If you do decide to offer your assistance in this war, we are unfortunately finding ourselves trapped within. We would be much appreciated, but if not, we will not prevent you from leaving.
From what we've been able to gather, this conflict extends beyond the borders of your fair island.
This conflict extends beyond the borders of any home that you may have come from. This encompasses all the worlds within this world.
So then why is here so important?
Because until recently, here was safe. Because here is me.
And that's no longer enough?
Does not seem to be. The usurper, he says, and he slams the table. All of the dinnerware just sort of like jumps almost. The table itself shakes. Has found a way to corrupt my flesh.
And if you know how they were doing this, you would stop it.
I would try, yes.
So this other entity you're in contact with seems to have an advantage, growing in strength and number while you remain here.
And what would you have me do?
Oh, I'm just attempting to better understand your side of the conflict. You've been hesitant to share too many specifics.
What is it you would want to know? I will tell you.
Well, perhaps it is time for myself to be blunt. Then you seem quite at home here at home. And we got the name of this other guy, right? We got a few names floating around, but it's been a while.
Not a problem. Are you talking about Yaldabouth?
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Yaldabouth.
Also, if you want it to be something a little easier, you can also say Yahweh.
Yahweh.
As I believe Dr. Ryan was the one who made that connection last episode.
They are one and the same.
Correct.
Okay. Well, it seems you are quite at home here at home on your own island, keeping to yourselves, tending to your own flock, perhaps growing it when others may stumble upon, but if you treat everyone else as fairly as you've treated us, I can't see any fault with what you're doing here. However, Yahweh doesn't seem to be playing by the same rules. He has that advantage. He's out and about. I'm sure the distinction is nebulous. But they are out amongst the rest of at least our world that we've seen. You've said before the Foundation isn't one to really take sides. But we like seeing things kept, well, contained. And that doesn't need to be by our hands, their hands, iron bars, figuratively or actually. But you seem just fine here, and I'm very much a live and let live kind of person. Yahweh's out there, causing trouble for yourselves and extensively to everyone else. So, simply, boldly, how do we make that stop? Because I'm sure you have some plan.
Why?
There's a lot you can encompass in why. Why what?
Why are you so certain that I have a plan?
Because you'd be a fool if you didn't.
Yes, I suppose that is true. Yes. He pauses for a moment and then he waves his hand. And as he does, the doors behind him open. And every member of the, what I will call the attaché, both utopian and human, step out, closing the door behind them, leaving just him and the 5 of you. Well, 6 of you. I do believe this is the first time that one of you have ever called me a fool to my face. Perhaps you are right. Maybe I am. Do you know? Have you ever heard of the stories of the children of the night? Anyone who would like can roll me an SCP lore.
Okay.
I would love to.
For this.
Why not?
I will let y'all know ahead of time. It is a relatively high check.
I'm looking for it on this sheet because it's different.
History lore?
No.
No.
Occult SCP
Oh yeah,
lore.
occult. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I in my head I flipped them. I thought SCP lore was first.
17.1.
10.3.
16.
13.
Waiting for
Like a finger. Like, hold on.
37.4.
It's 24.5.
There it is.
I'm good at
It's
knowing
his
what I'm
specialty.
shooting at and how to shoot them.
Yeehaw! All right. So anyone with a 15 or higher has heard the term before. It is entirely up to you if it's something that you've heard in passing, something that you have come across in piles of paperwork or referenced somewhere with everything else about it redacted. Those of you who are aware of it, with the exception of Lieutenant MacCern, those of you who are aware of it are only aware that it is a thing that exists and that it is one of the things that is so deeply carefully guarded by the Foundation because there is no information anywhere about it. And if you have found any information about it, you have almost immediately been able to confirm that it is false. There is a lot of protection on whatever the fuck this is. Lieutenant MacCern.
Yes.
So, you know, from your particular group within the GOC, just a little bit more than that. See, human beings, as they are known today, were not always the dominant humanoid species on the planet. And there were more than one other one, although one of them was referred to as the Children of the Night. There were the Children of the Night, the Children of the Day, and the Children of Twilight. There may have been others, but those are the three you know. And for quite a while, the Children of the Night were the superior species on the planet. That changed pretty drastically. You don't know how. Your group doesn't know how. There are very specifically no stories left from them. But it did. And what most people would refer to as Bigfoots or Yetis. These are the Children of the Night. These sightings that people see that are taken very seriously, both by your organization and the Foundation. Those are the Children of the Night.
What was the last thing Mark said?
Have you heard of the Children of the Night?
Liam is now like leaning back in the chair a bit, and doesn't say anything, but just kind of raises a finger, like his hand's on the table. He just raises a finger as if to say, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And the rest of you?
Can't say that I have. No.
I'm sorry, I've not heard of this.
I saw a film once. Was it Dracula? I'm sure. Yeah, something in that.
No. I know that there's quite a lot of information for all of you to absorb already. But let me tell you this. What you did, what my children did, to take their place. That is why I'm here. Because I did not create such monsters as the lot of you. You have it wrong. I do not trick or entice people to come and call this place home. I offer them a respite from the rest of you. I did not create monsters, but you did. And my brother, another of my brothers. He created monsters. And so no, I will not step off of this place that I have built of my flesh. I will not offer a plan I do not have. for a problem I did not expect. I will fight for here. But I refuse. I refuse to fight for the lot of you. And it is sad. It is, at least to some extent, not your fault. Some of this you chose, but some of you did not. But anything that was of my flesh, of my blood, has been discarded. And so while you are welcome here, and I will give you what I can, do not ask of me the impossible. I do not wish to see the lot of you die, erased or worse, evolved. But no matter how powerful I am, and as he puts his hand on his chest, it kind of melts in and there's a bit of a squishing sound.
Mm.
I too have a conscience. And it will not allow that. You are welcome here. Even you, the violent one. There can be peace found here once we find our solution. But there will not be aid for out there coming from myself and mine. I am sorry. I do not have the answer you seek.
I believe that. And I greatly respect everything you just said. But that doesn't change the fact that this Yaldabaoth, Yahweh, is out there seemingly continuing to gain strength, gain followers. When we are all gone, and all of that mass, energy, belief, territory, power falls to them, and you have this lonesome, respectable, awe-inspiring, but lonesome island. What's going to stop them? How long does keeping to yourself keep you safe? And when that conflict does come here in overwhelming force, does staying here actually grant them the most protection if they'll only inevitably be overrun anyway? I say inevitable. I suppose there is no inevitability. I am coming from my own point of logic. But inaction is a choice. And eventually, you will have to do something. Probably.
Why don't you roll me a negotiate, persuade, charisma?
All right.
Hevard's worst stats.
Yeah, I know.
How could you ask him to do that?
I'm a cruel and unkind GM, is what I am.
I really wish I could spend some of this exertion on the things that I actually do.
I will allow you to spend one exertion on this strictly because of how fantastic that pitch was.
Okay. I'm going to spend a point of exertion, and I'm going to add a d12 and a +1 to my pool here.
Hell yeah.
So that is...
You also get that exertion back because Dell just cashed in some Tails points to give you exertion.
Thanks, Dell. You keep encouraging me to say stupid things, and I will keep saying stupid things, because I love it. All right. D12, there we go. You know what? I'm even going to spend 2 points of reverence to re-roll that.
Go for it.
Because I don't like that.
Fuck yeah.
That is an exploding D8.
Ooh.
That is an exploding D10 off of that exploding
God,
D8.
let's go!
All right.
I was waiting for the exploding D20. What do you do then? Do you do a D100? Like, how's that?
Just roll another D20. Fuck it. Street rules. This is like early 2000s Yu-Gi-Oh! Rules. We're just going to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
That is a 22.1.
Hey. So Mark sits there, and you can see the gears turning behind his eyes.
As Mark is thinking about this, I am looking at I'm just looking across the table, like, at Hev. Clearly the gears in her own mind are turning, but she hasn't said anything yet.
I will think on this. I will tell you this, and consider whether or not to give you more overnight.
Thank you for the enticing conversation. And for your hospitality.
Know that I am not your only potential ally here. Though you bear the unfortunate weight of your own allies from the moment you sit down on the ground anywhere. You are the Foundation. And there's a level of respect, fear that comes with that. But there's a hatred. The secret is the belief is that the Foundation is a neutral party.
That is another chuckle.
The Foundation is its own side in all conflict, in our ceaseless war. You are not here to find answers. You are here to find a solution to the Foundation's problem. Not humanity. Not mine. The Foundation. Whether or not they are a necessary side, I leave up to you to decide for yourselves, much as those here have, and many who have left. But you are saddled with that weight, for good and bad. Perhaps it would be best, upon your return, to inquire into the children, to ask of your own history, to see what they will tell you and what they won't. If you are comfortable questioning them, not all are.
Yeah, I generally don't have a problem asking questions.
I've learned that, Jackson. It is why you are my favorite. No offense to the rest of you.
No, none taken. That's understandable.
Specifically noticing Hev is silent here.
I want to be his favorite.
We all know Hev plays the long game.
Fair.
Yeah.
I just dropped a truth bomb on a god. I'm happy where I'm at.
Hell yeah.
So, as we are allowed to speak candidly here to you,
No.
observations from someone who notices patterns in scientific intrigue. I don't have everything. I can't paint a perfect picture, but I have been exposed to both yourself, your island, and to Yahweh at this point. The reason I don't think you have a plan, or if you do, and you're just not telling us, is because you represent something very different from Yahweh. Yahweh, in my opinion, represents evolution. Everything I've analyzed has been the perfect pinnacle of where mankind has gone or will go next. Whereas you are mankind coalesced, more or less. And it shows in your people. They do not evolve or adapt to the things around them. The fact that this thing that poisons them is not something they can readily deal with, because you need a doctor or you need something else, and they cannot learn how to be doctors anymore. You're stagnating. And I say this, you have been a gracious host. I appreciate our conversations, but truthfully, you are at a point of stagnation. And your brother is gaining the upper hand. And if I may speak so boldly again, when you don't evolve, oftentimes you die. It's been shown on many animals that live on this planet. One day, humanity may not be able to adapt. And that's the day that we become a footnote.
I would like you to roll me a negotiation persuade.
Do I have that? Negotiation.
I mean, isn't that basically Zura speak for exactly what Hev just said?
It is.
Yeah, I actually kind of like when you said it, I was like, I have more to say about this.
I will tell you that it is less about the impact of your words and more about his immediate response. That's why we're rolling. So I wouldn't I wouldn't stress out too much about potentially shifting the work that Hev has done. This is just for right now in this moment.
Okay, I'm
Roll
gonna use
3 ones.
I'm gonna
Don't do that.
reuse. I'm gonna use True Reverence to reroll
I can see
Okay.
it.
because that was a 2.2 total. We're gonna reroll that.
Yeah,
Well,
go for it.
Oh gosh, 16.2 is way better.
Yeah,
That is way better. Heck yeah. Okay.
amazing.
That was a lot of ones.
There's a lot of ones.
Ooh. There are two things I would like to say to you. One, do not make the mistake of underestimating your people. You find many ways to survive without adaptation. In fact, I would argue that you have gotten quite good at avoiding it. Second, the evolution that my brother brings to people is false. And yes, you are correct. We have stagnated here. That much is clear to me now. I will share this with the lot of you. Perhaps another first for me. But I cannot help but wonder at what point, as my children grow and learn, because they do learn, everyone who comes here brings with them knowledge that is added to our shared collective. But at what point do they learn so much that they make the same mistakes? I am their god, yes, but I am not their master. I am arrogant, perhaps even foolishly so. But I do not demand of them or refuse them. And at what point do they become monsters on their own? Is that just the salt for you all? Was I flawed from the beginning? Perhaps it was not the outside influences that led to the decisions that you all made. But how can I trust it not to be that way again here? Divinity does not mean lack of flaws.
Well, I do find this place peculiar. A thing I've noticed about your people is they essentially want for nothing. They are content in their lives here. And that's part of the problem. It's admirable giving people a place where they can just enjoy and be. But when you're getting this pressure from an outside influence that's actively hurting them and they don't know how to react back, that is when something needs to change. Either you need to, I don't want to tell you what to do. You're a creature so very different than I am.
The worst that can happen is I find it amusing.
Sure. You need to start giving them orders. You need to come up with a plan.
You have given me much to think on. But I will have to take the time and do so. For now, enjoy what remains of your meal if you so wish, or your sludge. Rest, recover. We will speak in the morning. You are certainly the most interesting of the Foundation's children to be sent here. Take that however you would like.
A question, if I may.
Go on.
Why do you think the Foundation sent us? You must have a theory as to why we're here.
His skin stretches again into that big smile. You can see all of the disjointed, sharp, strangely placed teeth under the flaps of flesh. I think that they have sent you here to see what has changed since the last time. I think that they know full well the growing threat of our brother. And they wish to see how far it has spread.
Yeah.
Or they sent you with the intent of pulling you back and getting whatever information you have been able to gather here for the sake of their records.
Oh, they do enjoy that as well.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I've never filled out so many forms in any job I've ever had. It's honestly.
Well, I can promise you, if you stay here, there will be no forms for you.
I mean, Jackson, I like the paperwork. That's one of my favorite parts after the science.
Okay. Me and you can have a long talk afterwards about why that statement is such an issue.
Okay, yeah.
Zura is kind of looking at Jackson like he's something wearing Jackson's skin at this point.
I mean, if you've got time tomorrow, I would, well, I'd love to see what kind of research you've already done in regards to the, I guess, incursion you've been facing from your brother. And, I might be able to offer some insight.
I do not know that we can offer research, but we have knowledge.
I mean, all the talk of divinity and everything that my fine friends have been discussing is, I'll be honest, way over my head. But, biology, yeah, I could probably have a look at that kind of thing for you. Maybe I'll have some ideas.
Good.
Are all your other siblings still alive?
You know, I haven't thought of it. But no, I do not imagine they would be.
Did Yahweh kill them?
Perhaps. Yahweh is not a murderer. He's many things, but not that.
If he did kill them, how would have he done it?
I suppose you'll have to ask him.
If you could kill your brother, would you?
You are just a delight to take out places. Just an absolute delight. And I thought I didn't have any social skills. Jeez.
I would like to tell you the answer is yes. I don't know that I can.
Because of some familial connection or because of the lack of ability?
Because I do not know that that would solve the problem.
But you didn't discount, or at least you didn't say, that you do not have the ability.
I did not say that. I will offer you a piece of information, as I have your friends. Whatever you believe you know about us and those like us, your questions show me the lack of it. Do not invest in the same concepts for mortals that you do for the deified. You will find yourself disappointed more often than not.
It's gotten me this far so far.
And how many of us have you encountered? Better yet, how many of us have you killed?
But actually, I may not have that information. I don't know if Liam would know how successful his group has been.
I would say
wait before you go any further, would
Sure.
Liam know about the great sea beast that the Foundation took out?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay. So continue, Ben. Sorry.
That's okay. I was going to say that Liam specifically, I think, is confident that he has never come face to face with the divine before.
Right.
And thus would have a divine body count of 0.
Right. But does he know about his organization having a body count or any encounters of which have occurred?
I believe that there have been indirect encounters that Liam would be aware of, but probably never a direct face-to-face like this.
Okay.
And as such, there are deific creatures that Liam would be aware are contained, at least to some level, by actions they take, but not dead. Do with that what you will.
The sea beast story is the only one that I can remember. So if there's any others that Liam would know, You can tell me at a later time.
Sure.
Oh, I'm gonna mute. Keep going.
Okay. So Mark sort of sits for a moment in this, just watching you, Liam.
Sorry, loud puppers.
Yeah, no worries. But the last thing he did is he did ask you about your encounters with divinity.
Unfortunately, I found, as I said in our previous conversation, the deities are quite elusive and hard to find, not easily within reach. My personal preference would be that they would be so far out of reach, they would be somewhere else, and not here. But alas, since they are, apparently we must have to deal with them, one way or the other.
What a complex way to say none. Be careful what you invest in. That information, that drive, that hope, it may not serve you as well as you would want it to. Now then, I believe the rest of our conversation, our discourse, can wait until the morning. I have a busy night ahead of me. And unfortunately, what I must go do will take much of my attention.
Well, if you get down early, stop by for a tea, a beer. We'll be around.
I don't think I've ever had the two together.
It's a British thing.
All right. And he puts both hands on the table, and as he rises, again you hear that sort of squelching sound, and you can hear the sound of like, when you sat on a leather couch on a hot day, and there's that very distinctive peeling sound as the flesh pulls away. You hear that sort of echoing through the large room with that very, very recognizable sort of snap as the last of him pulls away. And you can see his body physically ripple as it does.
I forget, and it's really not important, just visual,
Sure.
Because it's been so long. Is Mark wearing any sort of clothing, or is he just flesh blob all hanging out?
He is just flesh blob all
right.
hanging out.
Respect.
Yeah. And he turns and he leaves, leaving the group of you there for your meal, if you wish to continue eating, obviously.
Well, that has to be the strangest dinner I've ever attended, which is actually saying something.
Yeah, I mean, I do remember one Christmas that was on par when I was a kid, but
it was on par?
It's definitely up there.
Wait, Jackson, it was on par with sitting down and eating a meal with a divine being?
You never met
I was talking about MacCern.
You never met my Auntie Brenda, did you? Oof. Seriously. Oof. She would give any deity a run for their money. So, thoughts?
I look over at Malos. How are they doing? Have they left just in the middle of the conversation?
Yes, actually, in the time since you've been conversing, you look back over and the seat is now empty.
Okay.
However, for the briefest of seconds, and like when you blink, it's gone. You see what looks like the flickering static of a dead pixel on the table. Just part of the table. Just for the briefest moment.
I kind of brushed my hand where I saw that. Nothing there?
Feels like a regular old wooden bone table.
Captain Jackson, are you okay?
Yeah.
Are you sure? That didn't sound very convincing. I told you before, blink once if you're being held hostage.
You've got a lot to learn, you two, haven't you?
Yes.
I'm just curious because is this a stress coping mechanism? Because when I first met you and we did our first excursion together, you were not this funny. Like, you were funny, don't get me wrong, but now you are making many jokes.
You didn't laugh like this then. I don't think I heard you laugh once, but I've heard you laugh a lot.
Mm-hmm. And from a scientific point of view, what would you say the possible outcomes are?
Oh, I just mentioned
why that might be the case.
A stress coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, not that.
Assimilating into the cult.
Nope.
Are you drugged?
God, I wish so. Nope.
Then please enlighten us why you're so giggly right now.
Maybe it's about putting other people at ease and getting them to talk about things they wouldn't normally talk about, to people being overly serious and asking them lots of questions that are very direct.
Liam is still looking towards where Mark left, meaning the back of his head is towards everyone else, basically, because as far as I was aware, Liam was sitting right next to Mark at the head of the table.
Correct.
And is kind of like drumming his hands over the table before saying, Kennedy, would you be against a blood test?
Me? Doesn't bother me. Go for it.
Zura and Dr. Ryan, please do that as soon as possible.
Of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Considering this individual is able to construct apparently flesh golems of sorts.
Oh, you want to check that I'm me because we were separated? Yeah, makes sense.
Glad you see it my way.
That's the sort of thing I would do if I was in your position. So yeah, absolutely. Whenever.
I'll be honest, I'm also kind of with Lieutenant MacCern in that camp because there were literally hands reaching up from the ground that were trying to pull us under. You suddenly vanish and then reappear. I have concerns, but
I mean, it could just be my sparkling wit and personality that saved me. No, okay, you're right. It's not that. It very simply, I am just. I'm just very aware that we have come here with an agenda we were given. We've seen no sign that indicates what we were told is in any way true. And I sometimes think the best way to disarm people is be flippant and Stupid is the wrong word, but make people underestimate you.
Very well.
I'd be interested to know why you all think we were sent here.
Well, our orders were to they lost contact. They wanted us to check in on it. There was also a mention about a temple and retrieving something from it, though I can't remember the specifics anymore.
Liam's head is going to slowly turn and look at Hart. Our hosts seem to take you as a threat.
A threat? I thought we were getting along quite well.
Sure, as time progressed, but he sensed your contact with Yahweh pretty quickly and was not quite happy that you were somehow tainted. It begs the question, if this individual deity was as powerful as some might think he is, why would one minute little ant of a mortal that's just come into contact with another deity bring such emotional anguish?
Honestly, I think you put way too much stock into this whole deified categorization.
They don't.
No. And neither should you. I don't think they're all that much different than we are. Very different perspective, certainly.
But it does bring my mind to that perhaps the Foundation was testing a theory.
Was testing
Oh, they
what?
were testing something.
Theory.
I would not be surprised if we were sent here for this exact conversation.
Do you think it's possible we were sent here as like a Trojan horse, as like a virus, because of our contact with Yahweh?
It's one thing to have the virus on the outside layer of your skin, as we've seen, but to actually send the pathogen into the very center of the body is a different question entirely.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at it from a kind of perspective of what would you do if you wanted to take down an enemy who was on an island that you could not normally reach or do anything about?
Weaken their societal belief structure. Which is exactly what a foreign agent corrupted by a opposing polity could do.
Maybe drop in, I don't know, a extremely proficient member of an organization that wouldn't be opposed to knocking off a deity if given the chance.
You think I was the decision on that one?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do I know if the Foundation knows of my secondary organization?
They absolutely would, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if anybody was going to find weaknesses, it would be someone who's got experience in these kind of things. And then you add in 2 exceptional scientists.
That's the nicest thing you've said about us, Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, God, this place is getting me a bit. We are a reconnaissance mission. We have been sent here to test defenses, to gather information on weaknesses, and to potentially do some damage from the inside. And that's why we're here.
We're still not clear on what that box did to us back at the Foundation either. If we are here to destabilize things.
I don't think we're here to destabilize anything. I think we're here to make our presence known. We have.
I hope so.
If you were an organization, which of these 2, we'll use the word deities, would you side with?
This is just an open-ended question.
Yeah, I'm just curious. You're a big, massive organization that dedicates itself to study, gaining an advantage as much as possible by finding out as much as possible. Which of those 2 deities would you benefit more from aligning with?
Both, neither, and all the rest of them. Which is exactly what he just said.
Even the one that's going into decline?
You want the other one to also go into decline at the same time?
You would, but what if you're looking at it from a point of view of who is the stronger oppressor in this kind of circumstance? Which of the 2 is more likely to come out the victor? Which of the 2 would you be better off having an alliance with, or shall we say, have done favors for?
But we're not looking at 2. This is not a binary equation.
You're also only looking at it from the perspective that you're looking for an alliance to begin with, and not just looking to damage both sides so you can come out on top.
Unless, of course, you're talking about sharing of information. I'm pretty sure that a deity which knows how to modify and enhance humans would have some useful information from an organization that wants to find a way to gain an advantage.
On paper, Yahweh is the more attractive option scientifically.
Are they? Everything you've seen on this island?
Scientifically, yes, I believe so. However, Yahweh is a corruptive force, and brainwashing, definitely, 100%.
Every force is a corruptive force.
Mm-hmm. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
If there was a side that I believe the Foundation should fear, it would be Yahweh.
Both, neither, and everyone else.
Well, whatever the questions and answers are, I think we can all agree that we have been lied to, used, and that we've definitely not been sent here for the purposes we were told about when we first came here.
Is that news to you?
Oh, God, no. I'm just making sure we all fully understand that, it's all bullshit.
I mean, it's news to some of us.
with that, we do have a hydrate check, thanks, Dell.
Oh.
And just about as Dr. Ryan finishes saying that, and it has just a moment to sort of linger in the air, thick, the doors open. Walking through them is a familiar-looking utopian who had seemed enthralled with the group of you, trying to pick up the nuances that came with your existence.
This is white t-shirt guy.
Correct?
All right. I don't think we got his name.
No, he didn't.
Cool.
And he looks at the group of you, and then he turns his head a bit and motions to the set of doors you came through.
Was he in the room when Mark waved everyone away?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna get up, brush myself off, straighten my jacket, push my chair in all nicely, and make my way over to white t-shirt guy and throw my arm around his gelatinous shoulder and walk out the door. So, friend, what do you think that was all about?
So you're walking him out the door y'all came through?
I am walking with him in the direction he is motioning us to go through.
Okay.
Presumably back to our room.
Sorry,
you're gonna blood test him as well, aren't you?
I think that would be best, yes.
I'm just,
I think we should all honestly do a blood test at this point, even if it's just to get a baseline.
Yeah, excellent idea.
So you put your arm around him and it sinks a little bit, and you can feel sort of his wet flesh sort of softly adhere to your own, and you walk him out of there. Actually, you had changed into a suit at this point, right? So
yeah.
So you'll feel the wetness through the arm of your blazer, but you don't actually feel it against yours. I had forgotten we switched out of vacation bond into work bond.
Well, it's more like island dinner jacket.
Okay, fair.
Hevard.
Fair.
Yeah.
And his eyes just go wide as you start sort of walking with him and talking to him, and he just sort of watches you, and you notice him adjusting the rate of his footsteps to match your own, and he you can feel, because you have your arm around him, as his posture sort of shifts a bit to sort of match your own. But you notice it's a little more rigid than yours is, even after he adjusts it. He seems to be moving a lot more stiffly. But he doesn't say anything. He just keeps sort of wide-eyed looking at you as the two of you walk. What do the rest of you do?
I'm gonna
Ian
turn
is
to the
gonna
rest.
just stand up and go ahead, Tal.
No, you carry on. Go for it.
Liam is just going to stand up and silently walk after Hart. Not really seeing anything anymore, just kind of moving along.
I will turn to my two exceptional scientists and just say, so how would you two get communications off of an island where nothing electronic works? Just a little puzzle for you both. If we've lost communication with this island, as that's what we were told, how do they even communicate to people off the island?
I assume the boat ferries people.
God damn it, I knew that.
Mr. Boat.
And I was going to say I would use writing as a way of getting information out, compiling as much as can be compiled, and
so that would indicate an agent here who'd be willing to send information out.
Yes,
I believe any of the individuals we met during dinner may have been one of them.
And if the communication had stopped, that would indicate the individual could no longer send information out.
If that is the case, yes, that would all line up. But that's assuming anything we were told was accurate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Be interesting to find out if anybody's gone missing recently. Who, was human.
Is that even a question we can ask? Is that appropriate to ask?
Oh, no, probably not a good idea. I wouldn't go up to Mark and say, hey, have you found any spies recently that you are now holding somewhere? Just as something else to think about whilst we're here.
Oh, I was more thinking human versus not human, but yes, that also makes sense.
But yeah. No, well, I'm just assuming it would be less likely to be one of Mark's own brethren and someone who was with the Foundation previously, who's come here and been like a double agent or something along those lines.
But could you even be a double agent here? I mean, all of them are connected to the same source of information. Whatever information someone had, wouldn't it theoretically go into that river to be shared between everyone?
You will also note that Mark doesn't seem to care. What
From the bits we've seen,
mm-hmm.
I mean, let's hypothesize that Mark hasn't told us everything.
Mm-hmm.
We'd be foolish to think that he hadn't. So, what if there is a weapon being developed, a way to stop, his brother, and that information was being leaked out, and that individual then disappeared. I'm only, spitballing here, but it would make sense that there was something here we were meant to find, as well as potentially destabilize and, sow seeds of discontent in our wake. We are pretty good at that kind of thing.
Just to clarify, is this conversation happening in the dining hall, or are the group of you? Yeah? Okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Good to know.
Just a quiet conversation whilst we file out and follow Hev. Cool. Lots to think about.
So unless there is anything particular that any of you would like to do, I think the group of you are led to your rooms for the night. Liam, upon arriving, you notice that the mark is still on the wall. None of your things seem to have been displaced or touched in any way. Hev. Couple of minutes, maybe half an hour go by after you are left to your room. Attempts to engage this utopian in conversation do not seem very fruitful, although anytime you do speak, you notice that his very large eyes seem to immediately pivot to your lips, and he watches intently as you do. But beyond that, he doesn't really engage, and he almost seems obviously curious, but also a bit maybe shy. It's very likely he has not encountered anyone as social as you seem to be, as outgoing, who wasn't already a part of the collective. It's easy enough for you to sort of pick up from that. But
so
more
as
yes.
we were making our way back to the rooms. I know this guy's not going to actually engage, but Hev's gonna do like a little bit of one-sided conversation. But he's going to every now and then just subtly slip in little hints and little jabs, like, what do you think that was all about? Hey, are you usually asked to leave the room? Or, just these little, very subtle things, planting questions of doubt in there, just to see what he does with it.
Love it. I don't think there's any immediate reaction.
No,
but yes, that is absolutely noted. Oh, you scoundrel, you. Love it. So, as things have settled in, about half an hour after you have been left to your room, you feel a vibration in your pocket.
me.
Yes. You.
Okay.
And you open your phone, and you have a text message, Agent Hart. The number is not a series of recognizable numbers. It's symbols you've never seen before. And if you open it, the words, "I am here," just sit on your screen. And then you see the 3 dots come up and hover for a moment. And hover for a moment. And then they disappear. And for a moment, everything is still. And then your phone vibrates in your hand again, and the second message comes in. This one is text and an image. The text says, "Speak with me." And the image is what looks like an arch with symbols that you recognize from the first time. And in the center of that arch, that seems to be drawn across a wall, is a table you recognize, because that table is in your room. And on that table sits a single piece of plain white chalk. Zura.
Yes.
Your phone vibrates.
I will look at it.
Now, unlike Agent Hart, you recognize this number very well. It's an image, just one. And it is Malos, standing in front of a table that you recognize as very possibly being the table from your room. Okay. Their hand is on the wall. And above that, you see chalk writing. The same arch that you saw back on the last mission. And I think that's where we're going to take our break. So we're going to take about 15 minutes, go get some water, use the bathroom, take a stretch, do all the things we got to do. But we'll be back in about 15. You should be too. Because we have so much more of a Crumbling Foundation to come. See you soon. bam, we're back. Thank you so much for sticking with us through that break. Hopefully you, just like us, took that opportunity to get up, walk around, stretch out, use the bathroom, get some water, grab a snack, etc., etc., etc. You know the drill. But we're back, and hopefully you are too. And if you're not, then you can't hear this and it doesn't matter, but we'll be real glad when you're back. Anyway. When we last left off, Hev and Zura had both gotten some very interesting communications through a means that, prior to this moment, did not seem to be functional here. But both of your phones have gone off with similar yet distinctly different messages. And when we pick back up, Hev, I think we're going to focus on you first, as we sort of cut back from our commercial break.
Okay.
What is Hev doing?
So I turn around, I look at this table, I see a piece of chalk. Do I see the archway there?
No.
No. But I have a clear picture of it on my phone.
You do?
Almost like instructions on how to build one.
It does seem almost uncannily so, yes.
But the walls are made of meat.
It's true.
Okay.
Guess it depends how ticklish she is.
Yeah. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go up to that table. That table's made out of bone.
Yeah, it's like bone and
like
wood.
Yeah.
You see little bits of like tendon wrapped around, holding pieces together.
Does it look like it's part of the room? Could I pick it up and move it?
It doesn't look connected to the floor. You could try to pick it up if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to pick it up and move it a few feet away.
Yeah, all right. Absolutely not a problem. It's surprisingly light also.
I'm gonna go up to the wall. I'm just gonna put my hand on it.
It's warm. You can, if you leave your hand there for a moment, almost feel that pulsing of like blood as it rushes through.
I'm gonna pull my fingers in so that my palm pulls off the wall and my fingers just sort of tickle down and meet in the center. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I'm gonna do that thing where I pretty much do the reverse with my nails, and I want to see if there's any reaction from the wall.
It does ripple a little bit. It's not super like it's not a lot, but there is a very subtle sort of rippling that seems to happen, spreading past where your fingers like end up completely splayed.
Okay. With my hand still there, I'm just gonna say to the room, or muse to myself for the walls to hear. I wonder if in this place, more so than anywhere else, the walls really do have ears. They do have eyes. You want to come with me on a journey? Mark? Lend me an ear.
There is no response.
Okay. But with that, I'm going to pick up the piece of chalk and I'm going to go to work.
Sure. And I think as Hev begins sketching onto the wall these symbols, building the arch, we cut back over to Dr. Von Brandt.
I'm going to wait on the final symbol, though. I'm not completing anything. Until,
okay.
Just so you know.
Just that last one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we cut to break, the picture was of Malos pointing at a chalk outline of the door, correct?
They had their hand on the wall in the center of the arch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Zoe, can I interrupt you?
Of course.
I'm sorry. Because I just had a way better idea. Is there anything else in the room not made of meat that would be big enough to hold this arch? Does the bed have a... yeah, okay.
Yeah, you could do it on the bed if you want.
If you'll allow me, I'm going to start with the arch and then I'm going to go, hey, wait. And I'm going to stop and I'm going to go to the bed and I'm going to pull everything off of it. And I'm going to prop the bed up against the wall. I'm going to draw the arch on the bed.
Sure, absolutely. You can do that.
Sorry.
I love it.
Yes, okay.
Continue, please.
And as you've just real quick, so sorry, as you've already likely recognized, the bed is like a very soft, cushiony, like it's a nice bed. Zura.
Yes. So I go over to this place that Alice is indicating and kind of brush my hand along where the arch is in the photograph. Nothing's there, right?
No, nothing's there.
And I just kind of like, I'm speaking more to my phone. Actually, I'll just text it. I'll say that we shouldn't do that. That would be disastrous.
And then after a moment, you get another image. This time, it's a bed stood up against the wall. And on it is part of a completed arch. And standing beside it, looking away from the camera towards the bed, is Malus.
Zoe is amused because my SCP is tattling on you, Hart.
Does it show me?
It does
No.
not. It does not. No.
No.
Your imaginary friend has my back. We're buds.
But yeah, I just kind of like, yeah, that's a better idea, I guess, but I don't want to invite, I don't know, I'll text, like, I don't want to invite Yahweh to this place.
You don't get a response.
I kind of put my phone back in my pocket at this point and go, I guess I need blood from Jackson, so I can go and get that. Weird. And I'll walk into the hall with my kit.
Sure. Walking out into the hall, everything is pretty calm and quiet, and it's pretty dark, but you do notice that one Utopian, once again, just sort of standing there. And as you open the door and walk out, he kind of looks over at you. And you notice after a moment, his posture shifts a bit to mimic yours.
Hello. Are you watching over us? Yes. Good. You're doing a great job. What's your name? No name? Are you unable to talk? Is there something wrong? We have a doctor. I was actually just about to see him. Oh, I need to take his blood. That's the weirdest thing you've seen around here, somebody taking someone else's blood. And I kind of like touch the flesh wall.
And after a moment, he mimics you, and as he touches it, he sort of strokes it.
Does you have to forgive me. I am not familiar with your customs, but does the building enjoy being touched? Loves it. Interesting.
There's a slight cough with Liam standing in the doorway just watching this happen. And then he shakes his head and just walks across the lane to Kennedy's room and knocks.
At this point, I need to ask each of you to roll me a fate roll.
Fate roll. Oh my goodness.
All of us, Lion?
Every single one.
Oh. Ooh, okay.
Everyone.
That's not going to go badly.
Ooh. I wish I could angle my camera down enough to show you guys what just happened.
Me too.
I have 2 exploding D8s.
Nice.
Nice.
Yes. Get as high as you can on this. Good.
Okay. That's not as good as I can get.
$31.
What is this roll?
You're still only adding your top 2 dice, right?
Oh, top 2, so that would have been, sorry, then that would have been 9 plus 8, so that would have been 17. I thought
Okay,
it was
okay. All right. Yeah, just because a dice explodes doesn't mean you add it together. It's still just the top 2. I was wondering where your ridiculous numbers were coming from. Because I'm good at what I do, and I can't break 30.
I got a 15.
I guess I was confused.
All right, hang on. So Liam, what was yours?
So it was an 8 and it was a 9 and an 8, so 17.
Okay, and then this is Zura. You got 15.
15.
JD.
10.
Tal.
I wish for a 10. 7.
And Hev.
On the 1d8 I have for this, my d8 exploded, and then I rolled another 8 for 16.
Amazing.
Wonderful. Give me one moment. Proceed.
Proceed. All right, at that point I just kind of like waved to the utopian and was like, I should probably go and do the blood draw thing. I think that's what Lieutenant MacCern wants to do as well. It was nice meeting you. I'm Zura, if I haven't already introduced myself. Enjoy petting the wall. And I'll kind of slip by to MacCern, and I'll just say, I had the weirdest, I know you probably don't care, but it was the weirdest text message from my friend, maybe suggesting that I create that chalk portal here.
Very surprised you think I wouldn't care about that.
Well, because it has to do with my friend who you hate. But I told them it was a terrible idea.
Yes, I think anyone that would actually draw such an arch upon any surface inside of this building would be an extremely idiotic individual that should probably not do that. Anyway, but that's besides the point. I'm glad you have the state of mind to not do such idiotic things. Anyway, I was about to visit Kennedy. I'm assuming you're here to join me.
Yes, I'm here to take the blood.
You notice Liam's fully armed.
Expecting a fight from Captain Kennedy?
No, but
not so funny now, aren't you?
Laugh this one off.
Joke with a god, how dare you! It's better to be prepared than not prepared.
Yeah, I get that.
So the two of you, I assume, knock on Jackson's door.
Yes.
At which point, we're going to cut for a moment. Dr. Ryan.
Yes.
What are you getting up to in the meantime?
Drawing things with chalk.
Not drawing things with chalk.
It's a solid plan.
But drawing things in pencil. I think Zach is trying to, as much as he can, recreate a map of this particular city of Utopia as much as he can recall from moving through, and is also probably trying to put down some detail of the different buildings, the different styles, not entirely, but enough that he has the reference to see what aesthetics were being drawn from in the creation of these. He's mostly doing this to distract himself, but he figures it might be helpful.
All right, here's what I'm going to have you do. I'm going to ask you a question. What is your art skill?
That is a great question. My art skill is 1.3. And I'm sorry if you're hearing horrible noises in the background.
No, you're good.
My cat.
You're good. What is your navigate knowledge?
0.
Okay. Despite it being at 0, I'm going to have you roll and add both of those numbers, which one is 0 unless you choose to add the d6 to it. Add both of those numbers to your roll for me. Both are intelligence, so you'll just be doing a normal intelligence roll, and then you'll add your art, and then if you choose to add a d6 to your navigate, you will be able to do that as well.
And Lion, was that dexterity?
That's intelligence.
Intelligence? Awesome. Yeah. We love intelligence.
Good. I figured that would work a little better.
Well, some of us do, you know.
Yeah, Liam's just itching for that first real fight. Till it happens, and then.
Yep.
That is going to be a 15.5.
Ooh. Did you decide to add a d6 or no?
I did. Yep, and that was a 0.2.
Okay, wonderful. You actually get a pretty good sketch of the parts of Utopia you've been to, and can manage to fill a few things in based off of just basic logic of where things would be, based on what you've seen and how things are constructed. If I remember correctly, you also did pretty well on your architecture roll when you were walking through the city. So there are some things you can pick up from that as well, where based on even though it's sort of a mishmash of different architectures, there are things you can pick up as to where blocks would end and things of that nature. I'm also going to ask you to make one more roll for me. I would like you to roll me an awareness perception roll.
I would love to.
Good.
That is going to be 15.7.
Wonderful. Okay. As you go about doing this, there is a moment during your sketching where you notice that there is a pattern of sorts here to the layout. But it's strange. It seems familiar to you. You recognize it not because it's obvious, but because you've seen it before. It's itching at the back of your mind. Maybe even a bit frustrating. Because you can't place it. You know this. You know you've seen this. But no matter what you do, you cannot drag out of yourself from where. And with that, I think we're going to cut back to, unless there's something you'd like to do in the immediate.
No, I think it is possible that Zach does like pop out of his room at around that point because he's just getting frustrated and is like, what do I do when I'm frustrated? I go walk, and like completely forgets that he is not where he usually is, and like steps out and then just kind of freezes in the doorway.
Okay. And I think that would line up with just about the time where Jackson, I assume you open the door when you hear the knocking.
Yeah, I might leave it just ever so slightly longer than you'd expect, but yes.
Okay, then I think Dr. Ryan, you exit just before Jackson opens the door, which allows you to see Dr. Von Brandt and Lieutenant MacCern standing there, as well as the unnamed Utopian, who just seems to be watching the group of you.
Are we having a party in the hall?
Oh, I was gonna go take some blood.
That's right.
Would you like to come poke too?
You know, I would.
All right.
Liam's gonna nod and just kind of walk in past Kennedy and just take a seat on. I'm guessing he also has a table in his room.
Yeah.
He takes a seat on the table with his assault rifle just slung over his lap.
Yeah.
Sure.
I will usher the scientists in and sit on the bed and grab my cup of tea and just roll up my sleeve and just be like, there you go.
Well, this should be relatively easy because we actually have your blood on file since the last time. So, just the whole matter of spinning it around.
You tend to give a lot of blood to the organization.
Yeah, I believe it. Dr. Ryan, do you want to do the honors? And I'll just get my centrifuge all set up.
Trying to figure out if this is something I can even do. Let's double check that before I say yes.
At this point, I'm really watching them so closely. Like, come on now, this is amateur doctorish. What we're doing now.
Zura, I'm not that type of I'm not that type of doctor.
Oh my God! Give it here.
No.
Do it myself.
I think I can do it. I think I can.
Liam's sitting on the table watching this with his eyes just wide open.
Oh gosh.
Okay, this is going to be a very simple anatomy first aid int check.
Okay. I can. So let's go.
Great. Yeah.
If I fumble, it's gonna be hilarious. Okay, I rolled 2 ones. 8.3.
That's what the -2?
Yeah.
Okay.
It adds it on the sheet.
Oh, so. Great.
Amazing.
Okay, so it does seem like even with 2 ones, you are more proficient than a beginner medical assistant and don't have to get like 5 or 6 jabs in. You get it in 1.
Excellent.
You do have to do the wiggle a little bit. Like you get in there and you're like, but then you nail it.
As someone who gives blood, I hate the wiggle.
Yeah.
And just there is a distinct look of disappointment.
I will say one of Zura's traits is caretaking / nurture, or one of her skills that she's actually pretty good in. So it's probably not the worst. A good bedside manner.
Yeah, if you want, you can. You know what? Let's roll that. Let's roll the caretaking.
Oh, I'm excited for more ones.
No, you got this.
16.3.
Yeah, you like can recognize that you're gonna have to do the wiggle, and you like perfectly distract Jackson as you do.
Little medical manipulation there.
The bunny.
You want a sucker?
Ooh. I'm expecting a Brave Boy sticker at the end of this, don't you?
I'm not sure I have any. I could go back to the dining room and get you some dubious meat.
It's not quite the same, but no, I'll pass. But thanks.
You're welcome, and I'll do the whole like cotton ball and hold it on you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean it goes just fine. It comes out looking like it's not gold.
Well, goodness.
Yeah.
I will hand it to Ryan to work with.
Yeah, and that Dr. Ryan can do.
Yes. Okay, yeah, and I'm not even really gonna make you roll for it. Setting up the machine's already set up. You just gotta put it in and press a button. You're good to go. It's gonna take a minute or two as the centrifuge, right? Yeah, I think I'm correct in this. Starts to sort of spin.
Anyone else against the idea of sleeping alone in a room?
Oh, I don't think we're alone.
That's exactly why I'm kind of against being separated.
Mm-hmm.
I hate you, Lion.
That's right. Everyone needs snuggles sometimes.
I suggest we get Hart. Bring them in here. We take turns.
If it would make you feel at ease, we can return base camp, but I don't think we're alone out there either.
Good assumption. Anyone against this idea?
No, I mean I don't sleep, so that's fine.
Good, you can take first watch. And Liam is going to go out the door and go towards Hart's room.
Sure. Zura, in the meantime, will you be taking Dr. Ryan's blood as well?
My concern was mostly for Jackson because
you know what?
He vanished, and then we're trying to validate whether or not he's actually Jackson.
No, yeah, totally fair. In my mind, when you looked over at him and were like, poke, I now understand what you meant versus I had thought,
no worries.
Okay, so Hev. So you've completed everything but that last symbol. And just about as you do and make the conscious decision to be like, I'm gonna wait for a minute, you hear a knock at your door, which I'm going to go out on a limb and assume is very obviously Lieutenant MacCern, because I think Lieutenant MacCern has a very distinct knock.
I imagine Liam knocks with an assault rifle.
Yeah, just has the shotgun underside to it, just blows open. Hey, you in here?
Wrong room. It's fine. But yes, I think it's very, very clear, especially to you, that Lieutenant MacCern is knocking on your door.
Okay. While all of that was going on,
yes,
a couple questions. This is a very complex sort of situation, right? It's not just like drawing the alphabet in an archway.
No.
Do we have records of this arch and all of these symbols on file, or did we not get that? / was it erased by the time we got back?
So I'm just going to preface this with an apology if anyone can hear. There's a car alarm going off outside. But I believe someone did actually sketch down the symbols in the arch. It was Dr. Ryan. So there is a file of assuming you turned that in.
No, I think that was just Zach's own personal drawing. Yeah.
So then no, there is not an image on file of them.
Okay. With that, Hev doesn't have much. He left most of his stuff in back at base camp, but he does have his wallet. It was in his pants, and he's gonna open that up and pull out a few business cards and a pen, and I'm gonna copy each of these symbols down not on individual business cards because I doubt I have that many, but I'm not going to complete an archway or anything. I'm just going to have whatever I can fit on a business card, put that to the side, write the next few symbols, put that to the side, so on and so forth. So I have a
portable
record of it without it connecting together.
Okay, so you're not drawing it directly on the bed. You're just business carding it.
I'm doing both if I can.
Oh, you're doing both. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. So you do like a
just
portion,
so I have a record
and then
and
a
I'm
portion.
also putting it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
Okay.
just sort of like stack them on top of each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
I'm going to label them in order, but I'm going to mix them up when I put the stack together. So there is no way that they are connected sequentially.
But they're like labeled in some way that you can recognize what the order is.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm fine with that.
Okay. And then serendipitously,
I
hear
think
a knock at the door.
Actually, what I'm going to say is, considering now you are drawing it essentially twice, I'm going to say instead of getting to the end, you're about halfway done. Maybe a little over halfway done when you hear the knock at the door.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over to the door, open it up. Not who I expected, but you're early.
Liam's face mask just kind of looks in and goes, "Time for cuddles."
Yes.
No. Liam looks him up and down. These rooms, are they situated? Did you actually draw on the bed at all?
Yes.
Okay.
And Head's not hiding anything. He opened the door. You see the mattress is on the floor. Sheets are pushed to the side.
Do I see the drawing?
Given the way the room is set up, I mean, maybe Head's not hiding anything. You probably noticed that something has been drawn on it. Whether it's immediately obvious it's an arch or not is.
Liam will look over at the bed, then back at Hart. What are you doing?
What am I doing? I am playing a singular role. Because I can.
What would that singular role entail?
Well, strangely enough, I pull out my phone. Is the message still there?
No.
No,
Liam,
I didn't think so.
Lion is too busy fucking with me over here to pay attention to the game.
No, I'm just muting myself because this car won't stop going off.
Mm.
Is it not being picked up by the microphone? Because then I won't.
Very faintly. It's
Okay.
So I got a message from a new contact, which is strange because this isn't supposed to work here.
all right.
Of course, it's not there anymore, so I guess it doesn't really matter. He closes the phone and puts it back. But it seems the other side of the equation would like to have a conversation. But before you get all upset, I'm not stupid enough to have that conversation right here, right now, all on my lonesome. So I stick my head out the door. Hey, Tom, get in here. Clearly speaking to white t-shirt lump.
Yeah, and he just sort of looks around, bewildered, confused, clearly confused.
Hey, yeah, you come here. I got something to show you, and or your come on.
And after a moment, he walks over.
Liam's going to really quickly get between this approaching entity and look at Hart and say, "You're sure this is a good idea?"
Am I sure this is a good idea? No. I think if anyone is ever sure anything is a good idea, they are also a fool.
Amazing.
But we're playing philosophy again.
I strongly suggest you put this on pause for just a moment. The idea of opening a doorway to the enemy of our host, does strike me as a very interesting prospect. I just don't think we are currently in a position to do anything while we are currently separated and unknowing to over half of our party of what is happening.
Very true.
And Liam's going to back away and let Hart move forward however he decides.
There is an almost shocked expression on his face. All right, Tom, come here. Put my arm over him again and just walk him a few steps inside and pat him on the back. Do you talk to your boss often? Do you talk to Mark?
Liam's
You're
running,
not going to say anything anyway.
Liam is running to the other room.
Sure.
And I'm just going to motion broadly at the bed propped up against the wall with an almost completed archway on it. Pat him on the back. Just look at him like, thoughts?
And you see his eyes sort of glaze over for a moment. And then you see his vision come back, and then he looks over at you, and his eyes are just wide.
Yeah, I agree. Mark available?
And he takes a step back, and then you feel the room begin to ripple around you. And you see, it looks like he starts to vibrate. Slowly at first, like shivers into like full-blown tremors, into just impossible levels of vibrating. And you see the flesh begin to sort of slough from his face. And as it does, we're going to cut over to Liam real quick. Liam, running over to the other room.
Yeah, just heavy boots going through the flesh halls.
Yeah.
Dum,
dum.
Liam busts through the door and like
slamming into it, breaking it down.
Yeah, like just like completely sure. Like going.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna make you roll for it. That's just full on adrenaline and panic pushing. I'm so faith. Down. Yeah.
No faith in the Hevard.
And Liam will actually, I think they hear him speaking Gaelic for a split second as he's so freaked out. Before he goes, I think Hart just drew one of the arches.
You think he did what?
Yeah, that's what I said. I think we should get over there right now.
Yes. Why?
I don't fucking know. And Liam's going to then run back towards the other room.
You're muted, Zoe.
I will follow because I am just like freaked out. Initially, I want to say when you broke in, I was protecting the equipment.
Not my centrifuge.
My laptop.
Not my tubes.
Do what you want to me. Just don't touch my equipment.
Jackson, what about you?
Jackson will kind of just sigh, roll down his shirt, and just be like, "Yeah, that about sounds right," and follow after them.
So you're just the only one sort of strolling like casually towards the...
Yeah.
If we die, we die.
That's why we're concerned about you, Jackson. That's why.
Love it.
I'm done.
So
it's just a very kind of yeah. I mean, of course he has. Why wouldn't he?
So as the group of you, besides Jackson, make it back to that doorway, what you see is a very different scene than from Liam, how you left it. In the time that Liam has been gone, this vibrating has gotten worse, and as his flesh started sloughing off of him, it doesn't actually fall. It just seems to hang. And then you notice something fall on him. And then again. And then again. And if you look up, you notice the ceiling seems to be dripping globules of flesh onto his head over and over. And as they do, it seems to sort of slough its way down his body. And there's more of those wet, squishing noises as it does. And he begins to build mass. His features start to shift. His limbs sort of crack a bit as they elongate. And by the time the group of you get there, there is this just half sculpted flesh thing standing there. And more of these droplets continue to fall. The room still rippling. As you step towards the doorway, you can feel the unevenness of the floor sort of shaking a bit as well. And does anyone want to do anything in this moment?
Is there like
gun?
Sure.
Is there like a pitcher of water or like a beverage bar or anything in these rooms?
No. Jackson had a cup of tea because it was requested, but otherwise there don't seem to be any refreshments.
I'm just going to pull up a chair and
there
take
is
a seat.
Bathroom. So you have like a working sink if you want to get water from there, but there's otherwise.
No, I was just going to offer Mark a drink when he finally fully forms himself, but I'll just take a seat and wait.
Anyone else? Just stunned. You're muted.
Just panicking, really.
Yeah, and I think, Jackson, by the time you get there, you recognize this is mostly Mark. And he does not have his head flesh pulled back. And so it is just this, if you've ever seen Clayface from the 90s Batman cartoon, it's like that. Just these rippling sloughs of flesh that kind of resemble a face and like kind of have holes where the eyes are, and kind of has a mouth that overhangs on itself, and the body is just clearly sort of like ramshackle together. Like you would imagine that if someone was sculpting this out of clay, it was a child who just took it and went bam, bam, bam. That's a person. This works. And then it stops. The room settles. And standing before you is, what seems mostly like Mark, who is staring down at you, now about 7.5, almost 8 feet tall.
You know, I usually know how to make an entrance, but this one tops even me. I like it.
I believe I have been a gracious host up until this moment. And you repay me with blaspheme.
Oh, hey. Wait. Hold on. This isn't done. I'm not doing anything. And if I was going to, would I have called you here?
He's
This is your house. This isn't my house. I respect that.
I mean, he's got a point. I mean, it's not a great point. I don't know why he started it, but he's got a point. So, why did you start it? I'm sure there's a good reason.
Yes.
Offer it quickly.
One of the best. When somebody offers to have a conversation, you take it. Or at least you consider the possibility. I hold up my phone. This isn't supposed to work here, right, Mark?
No.
And the beach, the oily tentacle monsters, those metallic trees, they're not of you, right?
No.
No. So Yahweh is already here in a sense. In some sense. A minor one. But they're here. They would like to speak. You've noticed I've had contact with them, and I don't deny it, just as I am in contact with you. And I will be as forthcoming with them should I see them again. That puts me in a unique position. How often do you have the opportunity for an intermediary? How often do you have the opportunity for a relatively direct tie to the other side? When's the last time you've talked to Paul's time here?
Yeah.
Are they brothers? I forget. They're brothers?
Yes.
Yeah. How long has it been since you've last spoken to your brother? Directly or indirectly. That is all I'm offering. And if you say no, all I have to do is wipe it away. It's chalk. But they're here already. Have Tom come with me if you want. He's a good kid.
You see a sort of ripple throughout his oversized, fleshy form. I'm going to need you to roll me a negotiation, persuade, charisma.
Okay. So I don't want to lean too heavily on the precedent, but can I spend another point of exertion here?
You know what? This was just dumb enough that I'll let it happen, yeah. Yeah, take it. You're going to need it. Take it.
I'm sure. I'm sure. All right. What do we got here? Man, we need more reverence flowing in this game. Because that is not the best roll. And I don't really have anything more I can do about that. No, don't think I do.
I'm gonna give you a reverence for this absolute insanity. Yeah, the audacity. I'm gonna give you a reverence for the audacity.
I'll take audacity reverence and immediately spend it.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, that's a little better. That is a 19.1.
Nice.
So there was a moment of just silence. And then he swings an arm out through the bed frame, just absolutely collapsing it. You can see, as his arm moves, what looked like an amassment, just an amalgam of human nails sort of sprout, which shreds through the mattress as well. And then he turns back to you. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here for our amazing return to A Crumbling Foundation. Thank you to our fantastic chat for keeping things going, and for our amazing new prompt that we have in chat. Type !cuddles for absolute wonderment. Thank you to our amazing cast, who I'm going to give a chance to remind you who they are, what they do, where you can find them, why they're amazing in a moment. But yeah, very, very hyped. So I'm gonna do that right now, actually, because why am I gonna wait? Zoe.
Hi everyone, I'm Zoe. I play Zura Von Brandt in A Crumbling Foundation here on the best place ever, Tales from the Table Studios. You can also find me on Wednesday nights at same time, actually, over on Component Cast playing Cyberpunk Red, Night City Terrors. So if you like Cyberpunk, come join us. Would love to have you.
Next up is the Eye.
I am the Eye who has now gained a new way of getting tortured for forever, eternity. Wonderful. Wonderful night. Glad everybody is having fun. You find me here, only here, everywhere here, just here. Unless one of these fine folks decide they want to bring me over to one of their tables for their own dark and fun times.
You got to make the summoning circle for that.
Yep, you gotta learn it from the lion to do
It's
that.
a whole ritual. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a mess. Anyway, that's it. Next up,
Tal.
I have a hellhound currently rubbing against my arm, so excuse me.
Hi everyone, I'm Tal. You can find me over on the social medias under the Gamer's Rest. Tonight I played Dr. Jackson Kennedy, who is fine, and I'm sure his blood test will come out completely normal. Yeah. You can check out, I have a YouTube channel where I'm playing a few games over there at the moment, and episode 2 of The Quarry is available now.
Awesome. Jack.
Yes, hello, I am Jack, and I have been and will continue to be Hevard Hart, because I know Mark is just a big old softie, and he loves me. You can find me here making interesting, if stupid, decisions most weeks. And if you want even more of those interesting, possibly stupid decisions, you can follow me over on twitch.tv/Studio Tembo every Tuesday, except this Tuesday. That is every Tuesday at 7 p.m. EST for Star Trek Adventures. We just started season 3. We're on like episode 3 at this point. It's a great game. Go check out Studio Tembo anywhere you pod your casts. Star Trek Europa. It's a great game. Go check that out if you like sci-fi. Otherwise, I have my own channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered, and the associated YouTube channel, and all over the social medias at the same name. I am working on setting up season 5 of my RPGs Uncovered season, a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to learn a new TTRPG. I'm not going to go into any specifics because I'm still setting it up, but we're looking to get season 5 started the first or second week of May, and it's going to be a fantastic cast. You're going to see some familiar faces. It's going to be a great game. There's going to be a lot of feels. I'm really excited for it. So come hang out with me on Discord and the social medias for more updates on that. And keep checking back here for more Hevard Hart. And I will pass it up to JD. Hi.
Thank you, Jack. Yes, so I am JD. Tonight I was Dr. Zachary Ryan. Dr. Zachary Ryan continues to go through a time in the midst of the time that we are all having. Other than here, you can find me with so many things with Live from the Apocalypse. I am in Class Reunion, our D&D 5e homebrew game. We play that every other Tuesday. I am also there for Academy H, which is our Masks Actual Play podcast, which we record every other Sunday. It's a good time. You should check it out on your podcatcher of choice. It is amazing, and we just put out what all of us genuinely believe are our best episodes to date. And there are a lot more exciting episodes that have happened since then. Finally, this coming Friday, you can find me with Live from the Apocalypse at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Thy Kingdom Come, which is our Urban Shadows game, where I will be playing an actual saint. And right after that, you can find me GMing a season of Secrets and Shadows, our Regency Monster Hearts game, as I do what will amount to be about 8 straight hours of gaming that day. So it'll be a good time. That cast is absolutely feral. They are doing amazing things, and I am very excited to see where this session goes. And I think that is it for now, although I have a lot of exciting announcements coming up on the horizon.
Always hyped for announcements. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. I'm Lion. I'm the creative director and head for Tales from the Table Studios. You can find me here primarily. I do pop up in other places sometimes. Right now it's just here. But that may change in the very near future. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. We'll be back on Thursday as we continue our week of return with our return to Rhaegar, Shadow of the Dragon, in the penultimate episode of Season 1. Very exciting. We've been very, very hyped to come back. Cannot wait to share that with you. Think it's going to be absolutely phenomenal. And then we'll be back on Friday with another return with Life on the Periphery, which is a fantastic game based in the world of The Expanse, running parallel to the series. It's been absolutely amazing up until now, and it is going to get even better as we move forward. With that, we're going to disappear in just a moment. You're going to see our schedule come up, and then we are going to raid Talking XP, who are currently doing Ravenloft, I believe. So that's always awesome. I mean, Ravenloft is great. How can you not love Ravenloft? So until next time, take care of yourself, love yourself. Remember that you deserve a seat at the table, and always remember to tell your tales. See you soon.